What's up, everybody? Welcome to Weight Loss Surgery Unfiltered. I wanted to do a video that you've probably seen this video a lot of times before. I think I can bring something kind of unique to it because I've decided against this surgery in the past, and then finally decided to get it. And I think that that kind of journey and what it took for me to realize that it was still a good idea might be able to help somebody who's on the fence about this. So the question you'll get the second you mention you're even looking into bariatric surgery is, should I get bariatric surgery? And people will ask in a couple of different ways. They'll either be completely overt and say, do you think I should get bariatric surgery? And they'll ask just like that. They'll look down at their bodies and think, do you think I should get bariatric surgery? Or they will be very they'll try to be a little bit sneaky about it because honestly they're a little bit embarrassed. They'll say, you know, what did your BMI have to be? Or basically, how did you qualify to get this surgery? Besides being really, really fat, how did you qualify to get this surgery? I very, very seldom would answer this with a direct yes or no. In the case of the second person who's being very sneaky, I also wouldn't recommend thinking that they are asking for themselves. It's kind of like you never assume a woman's pregnant until she tells you. Like, never assume somebody wants bariatric surgery. Because if you say, "Oh, you mean for you?" They'll be like, "No, what do you mean? You think I can't control it? You think I'm that fat? I need it?" And it's just very embarrassing. I would imagine it hasn't happened to me yet. It will, because I'm just that suave. But yeah, I would hardly ever answer this question with a yes or no. If it was a very, very close family member and I knew a lot about them, I might say, well, yeah, maybe now is a good time for you, or whatever. But it is such a nuanced and personal decision that there's so much going into it that you don't really realize when you start looking into it. When you start looking into it, you Google qualifications of bariatric surgery. You see that your BMI has to be over 40 or whatever it is, and that it helps if you've had kind of complications due to your weight, health complications. But you don't know. I certainly didn't know all of the things that really needed to fall into place in order for me not only to get the surgery. Getting the surgery is freaking easy. You sign up for that shit and you lose weight and they say, okay, here's your surgery date. And then they cut you open, tear your stomach out. And then you got a little tiny little bitty baby stomach. That's easy. That's the easy part. Having success, being okay with it in the first place, and then having success afterward, which I'm not even going to really speak to because it's only been a month for me. I'll probably do an update to this video at some point. Everything else around you has to be, at least for me, had to be in place. So just personally, I'm going to tell you how I finally came to the decision to get bariatric surgery, and then the lessons I learned from that journey, because I think that those can actually help. Otherwise, I think this is a very self-serving video. So I tried to think of how my journey could actually help people like you. So here's my journey. I initially started looking into bariatric surgery about 2 years ago, and my life was a lot different than it is now. I was married. And my marriage wasn't particularly good anymore. I mean, I can literally remember the first time I looked into bariatric surgery. It was at a point in my life where things at home weren't particularly great. And then by the time I was really very serious about it, I was getting divorced. My marriage had kind of fallen apart. I can remember the moment I decided I was definitely going to do it for the first time. I had just moved out of the home I had with my ex-wife. And I had my sister, for her honeymoon, had gone to Disney World, and for the second half of her honeymoon had invited her family, our family, to go. And yes, in case you're wondering, getting divorced while your sister gets married is exactly as fun as it sounds. I'm sorry, Brittany. I was a terrible brother. I was awful. But we all went on vacation together. It was a great vacation. But we went to Universal Studios. And if you've been in the kind of weight loss community for a little while, you probably know where this is going. There is a ride at Universal Studios where you kind of fly through Hogwarts and everything. And it's really kind of freaking awesome, I guess. I didn't get to experience that ride. So here's how it goes. If you're going to Universal Studios and you're a very large person, or you're a very tall person, or you're at all abnormally shaped person, here's how this situation goes. So you walk up to Hogwarts. It's the freaking coolest looking thing you've ever seen in your life. And there are these two people who are working. They're standing outside. And their jobs, for 99% of people, is to just say, welcome to Hogwarts. That's a very difficult job. But their other job is to stop fats from getting on the ride in the first place, because you won't fit. So what they say is, they say hello to everybody. Oh, welcome to Hogwarts. They say it in an accent. It's very nice. They say, welcome to Hogwarts, welcome to Oh, hey, Fatty McGee, you can't go on this ride. But they don't say it that way. No, they make it much more embarrassing. There is a replica of the seat that you would be sitting in for this ride, and it's just kind of off to the side. And they say, sir, could you come accompany us to this seat? We just want to make sure that you're going to be comfortable on this seat. What they mean to say is, oh my God, you're so fat. Let's make sure that you're not too fat to break our fucking ride. Sorry for the swearing, but that's how this goes. So you sit down, they try to cram the damn thing on your freaking body, and you feel like shit about yourself, and then they tell you can't go on the ride because you're a big fatty fat, and then you want to cry in a little corner. But you can go through the line, which honestly, go through the line. The line's fucking amazing. I would definitely go through the line. The line is awesome. But then you get to stand off to the side, and you feel like everybody in the entire park is looking at you and your giant man boobs, and you just feel like shit about yourself. It's really great. Some people have turned this around and made it motivation, and Universal. I hope that you don't take credit for that shit, because fuck you for making people feel the way I felt at that moment. I can fit on every other ride on the planet, but not yours. That isn't my problem. Fuck you. In case anybody at Universal is watching this, that's probably not going to happen. And if they do work at Universal and are watching this video, they're probably very large and can't fit on their own fucking ride. So maybe you want to fix that. So I tell my family as I'm going through the line, because again, I already had a very low opinion of myself. I was getting divorced. I was very large. I was newly single. The idea that somebody would want to be with me in the future one day and have a family with me, it was completely a foreign idea. I mean, I was disgusted by how I looked. So how could I possibly ask a woman to not be disgusted by how I looked? It wasn't fair. And I thought anybody who would want to be with me would be settling for me, and would honestly be somebody that I would have to settle for too. And so it wasn't a great time in my life. It wasn't a great thought process. So I get home and I start looking into this surgery. Now the first hospital I went to, they really held your hand, and it was a long process. It was a long process for this. You had to lose a certain amount of weight, and you had to see a psychologist. You had to go to a bunch of support group meetings first. You had to really make sure that you wanted to get this done. And in my head, if you would ask me, do you really want to get this done, and why? I would have said, of course I do. And I want to live a healthy lifestyle, a healthy, active lifestyle. And I wouldn't have been lying, really. I just hadn't really thought about it. To be honest, I just knew the right answer in order to get the surgery done. So fast forward a little bit, and I'm still looking forward to it. I am dating a girl who didn't really value health any more than anything else. I mean, we ate fine, but I was still really looking into it, and fast forward a little bit further than that, and my life completely changes. And my fiance, who I'd known for a very long time, we start living together, and she is somebody who, even when she's not trying to cook healthy. She cooks healthier than anything I'd eaten before in my life. Very colorful meals. We got together, we started living together, we started going to the gym. I lost like 30 pounds. It was beautiful. And I said that I was not going to get bariatric surgery because I thought I could do this myself. I was eating healthy. My fiance Heather cooked very healthy meals. We were exercising. I mean, there was nothing standing between me and a healthy lifestyle. So I said that I wasn't going to get it done, but I still kept it in the back of my mind. Like, honestly, pretty much any very, very large person who's done this 1,000 times, who's lost weight and gained it back and lost weight and gained more back, you keep it in the back of your mind. So fast forward again. My fiance is pregnant with our daughter, and this was the point at which I decided not to get it. So what happened was I was taking a shower. I was getting ready to go to a party at a friend's house, and this friend was a mutual friend of my ex-wife and I knew that she could be there, that she probably would be there. So in my head, I'm having this imaginary argument with this woman who probably hasn't thought about me twice, and who I have convinced myself and others I have literally no feelings for whatsoever. Love, hate, nothing. Just don't think about her, live or die, don't care. I'd spent a lot of time and a lot of effort to get to that point, and I realized halfway through my imaginary conversation that, oh my God, I freaking hate this woman. And that's not something, I mean, that's a joke in a stand-up routine that you hate your ex-wife, but I don't want to hate my ex. I don't want to hate anybody. So that really got to me, man. That really bothered me. So I decided before I even got out of the shower, I can't get bariatric surgery because one of the reasons, and I'm not proud of this, and if she sees this, I hope she knows that this is not how I feel anymore. We were both pretty large, and I wanted to not be large while she still was. And I wanted her to see me living this happy life. And it's not it's not something I'm proud of. It's not a joke. And it's also no reason to get bariatric surgery. It's no reason to do really anything. So I decided at that point, no bariatric surgery, and I needed to talk to her. So I spent a couple of days having very long conversations with this woman and getting a little bit of closure, figuring out, I really hated how she did what she did more than I hated what she did. And we talked about everything that happened, and I got a little bit of closure, and I felt much better about the whole thing. So fast forward again, and my daughter is born. And that changes everything. And everybody tells you that changes everything, and I don't know that I really realized it. I mean, when she was born, Jesus, I watched that kid come out. I saw her from the second her skin hit the air, man. And it was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. She was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. And I lost it. I just cried, and the kid was beautiful. The kid is beautiful. And we got home, and I realized, I couldn't sit on the floor with her. Once she was old enough to start interacting with things, and I couldn't be on the floor with her. It was very uncomfortable. And I was just getting tired, and it was uncomfortable just to bend over and pick her up out of her crib. Things that at 30 you shouldn't be feeling, I was feeling. So I thought about, how long would it take if I were to really commit, how long would it take me to lose the weight that I needed to lose? Now, my ideal body weight for my height is 140 pounds. I can't imagine ever getting to that point. I'm not sure I even want to get to that point, but that is my ideal body weight. At my heaviest, and I was probably around this, I weighed 350 pounds. So I had over 200 pounds to lose. And I figured between getting off and on the wagon and holidays, and so even if I did pretty well and I lost 50 pounds a year for 4 years, that would be about right. So it was about, my kid would be 4.5, maybe 5 years old, depending on how long it took. And I think about 10 years ago, I was about 21. I'm about to be 31. 2021, I was in college. And I really felt like I was an adult. I was living on my own. I wasn't paying all my own bills because, poverty. But I was living on my own. I felt like a grown-up, you know. And by the time I was 23, my ex-wife and I had decided we were going to start trying to have a kid. That was 7, 8 years ago. And it feels like yesterday. So if I take that now, I know that if I blink, my daughter's going to be 5, 10, and she deserves the best dad that she can have for those years, you know? Like, I don't want to waste her time, I guess. She deserves to never have to have her mother explain to her, you know, well, Daddy would love to play, but you know his knees, or you know his heart, or his back. Basically just make excuses for the fact that I'm fat. And my kids, because I'll have another one, hopefully, God willing. They deserve a dad that can do anything. A dad is Superman for a while, until he's the most embarrassing guy on the planet. I need to be Superman. Superman, he wears a very tight outfit. He can't be fat. Superman can't be fat. And my daughter deserves the best I can be. So I decided to get the surgery. Got it about a month ago, and here we go. So I wanted to think, so I thought about, like, what can people take from that journey? The biggest lesson for me was that the smallest factor in me getting weight loss surgery was weight. What I mean by that is everything else had to be in place before getting weight loss surgery made any sense. The first time it was about weight. It was about looks. It was about being newly single and wanting to be in a relationship with somebody at some point ever in the future. But it certainly wasn't about having the support that I needed to get things done. And I needed to come to uncomfortable truths about myself. It was a very uncomfortable truth for me to realize that I was much better off getting weight loss surgery if I could hand off most of my food making decisions to somebody else. I'm a guy who thinks he can do anything. I mean, put it in front of me. I'll get it done. I'll figure it out. I'm a smart guy. I'll do it. But I can't decide not to eat a cheeseburger. I mean, those two things don't mesh. But it is the truth. It's not that I can't decide not to have a cheeseburger. It's that more often than not in my history, in my past, I have not made the right decisions regarding food. And now I'm with my fiance, and she prepares every meal. And that might sound sexist or chauvinistic, whatever. That is one of her roles in our relationship. I have roles in our relationship, whatever. But that is something that she enjoys doing and that directly benefits me. She cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. It's amazing. And she cooks great food. So I don't feel like I'm sacrificing anything. If I had gotten the surgery the first time I wanted to get it, I was single. And my cooking, while not terrible, is usually full of terrible decisions. There's not a lot of meals that don't involve processed meats or cheese. And in best case scenario, both. So that was an uncomfortable truth I had to come to. I also had to come to terms with the uncomfortable truth that I was kind of cheating. And this is something that's very unpopular in the weight loss surgery community and whatever. Stop watching. Fine. But when I first started considering this, you know, one of the first things I thought was, let's just eat better and exercise, dude. There is nothing stopping you from having a healthy lifestyle. Nothing. Why would you cheat? Then my daughter was born, and I just had to come to terms with it. I had to be okay with it. If somebody ever says to me, and God willing they won't, because I will have to have been in a pretty level-headed mood for me to respond correctly to this. But if somebody ever says to me, well, dude, you cheated. I mean, yeah, congratulations, you lost 150, 200 pounds, whatever it is. But dude, you cheated. You cheated. You had your stomach torn out of your body. That's not working hard. That's just cheating. You might as well have gotten liposuction. You cheated the system. If somebody says that to me, hopefully they're nicer than I just was. But if somebody says that to me, honestly, I probably say, yeah, you're totally right. I did. I cheated the system. I could have lost all the weight by myself, and I didn't. So what? What's your point? Is your point that I don't, deserve it? You cheat the system, but it's still a hard life long term. It's still a hard process. And then by the time you lose the weight, you're just maintaining like anybody else. So if somebody tells you you don't deserve it, well, I mean, fuck you if you say something like that. But if somebody tells you you cheated the system, to me, I'm like, yeah, no, I totally did. I totally did. Of course I did. Of course I did. My daughter would have been in kindergarten by the time I was at a healthy weight. I totally cheated the system. Not sure exactly the point you're trying to make, or if you're just trying to make me feel bad. But if that's the case, we don't really need to talk anymore. If the point of any conversation that you're having with anybody is to make them feel bad about themselves, I mean, you got something wrong with you. I don't have a hell of a lot wrong with me in that conversation. So that was an uncomfortable truth I had to just come to terms with. So there you go. Have the support system. If you live by yourself and you're 40, 50, 60 years old and you're just, it's the time to do it. Okay, fine. But I've seen too many people try to lose weight and have a really hard time with it because they'll say something like, I want to cut out all carbs, or I want to take all the junk food out of the house. And usually the husband is the one who turns around and says, no, I love junk food, I love carbs, and either I'm very overweight and I'm okay with it. If you're not okay with it, then that's your problem, you cut out carbs. Or maybe I'm of a healthy weight and you got fat. Why should I suffer and not have a sandwich again because you're fat? Those things are very difficult to overcome. And I don't have really great advice for doing that. The best way that I've come to think about surgery is something I heard over dinner once. My father has to eat pretty much a vegan diet. He's got some health concerns, and his doctor put him on essentially a vegan diet. And he said one day over dinner that he doesn't eat ribs or whatever it is that we're talking about anymore because he's a vegan essentially. And the guy said, I think I'd rather die. I think I'd rather die than never have ribs again. It's such a bullshit thing to say. But he said that, and somebody else said to his wife, I won't say her name, but said to his wife, are you okay with that? Because he doesn't think you're more important than ribs. And everybody laughed and everything, but I thought, exactly. My daughter's more important to me than anything. So I got the surgery. So if you come across somebody in your family or support system who says, man, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to order a pizza. You eat whatever you want. Me and the kids are going to have a pizza. That might be a good way to bring up basically what they're telling you about you. Because I would hope that they don't mean it that way, but that is what it is. If you say, you're prioritizing pizza over our marriage or over our partnership or whatever it is that you're in, maybe not immediately, but that might get them to think a little bit differently. You would rather I die than not eat pizza. So thanks for that. Now, do I have, the question that I'm starting to hear occasionally is, do I have any regrets? And the answer is no, but it's only been a month. It's been a hard month with a weight stall, and it just hurts to get this surgery done. It's been a difficult month, but no, I don't have any regrets so far. So should you get bariatric surgery? I don't have any fucking clue. I don't have any fucking clue. And anybody who tells you that they do know that you should get bariatric surgery, or that no, you shouldn't, is a fucking liar, or they're very, very full of themselves. I almost got the surgery and would have failed at it, and that would have devastated me. I'd be 500 pounds right now. If I got the surgery and failed and gained all the weight back, fuck, man, I would find a very, very, very strong beam. I'd be devastated. And it would have been because I rushed that decision. Because somebody brought it up to me and said that it was a good thing. That it was a good thing for her, a good thing for him. And I wouldn't have had the support system. I wouldn't have come to terms with the uncomfortable truths that I really did love to binge eat, that I don't make good food decisions, and that I'm better off if somebody else makes them for me, that I hated my ex-wife, that I hated anybody, but that I hated my ex-wife, and that I was cheating the system. Those were all uncomfortable truths that I had to come to terms with. Had I not, this could have failed. And that, to me, is much worse than not getting the surgery in the first place. So if you have any questions or you just want to disagree, tell me I'm full of shit, whatever, that's fine. Leave them in the comments. I'll probably read them and might respond because I'm a contrarian asshole. So, okay, love you. Bye.